This taxi is tough on the spine.
Beats the bus, huh, Junior?
Beats me. Where we're going, why we're going, how can we be sure?
I'll lay you 8 to 5 that we meet Dorothy Lamour. Yoo-hoo!
Off on the road to Morocco. Hang on till the end of the line.
What are your favourite films of all time? What are the films that have defined you as a film lover? This is what I'd like to talk today in My Love of Movies. Welcome to Matt's Movie Reviews. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, give us a little click on the link below, and please leave me your comments and any of the films that you feel that may have influenced you as a child. Growing up as a kid in the 70s and 80s, I feel as if I had a great education in films and all things TV. For me, it all started with Superman the movie. This is one of the few films I remember really influencing me from a young age. Of course, I'd grown up with Star Wars and absolutely loved that too, but Superman the movie was the film that really defined me as a film lover.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me? Who's got you?
We're sitting on top of the story of the century here.
Who are you?
A friend.
Moving on from there, I just developed a great love of film throughout my childhood, and I just swallowed up as much as I could take in. Saturday was movie day for me, and I'd be watching as much as I could on TV. Now, during my childhood, there were only 3 channels on the TV, and generally you kind of had to watch what you were given, but generally I'd go towards movies. Saturday afternoons would be prime movie day for me, and like I said previously, I'd either be at the cinema watching the new releases, or I'd be watching things on BBC Two. Because content was expensive to produce in those days, you found that a lot of things were repeated from many a bygone era, from the 30s and the 40s. So things like the old serials such as Flash Gordon or King of the Rocket Men, which were old serials which were shown at the cinema and were the basis of things like Star Wars and Indiana Jones. It didn't really matter what genre of film it was as well. I just would take it all in. I'd watch things like Basil Rathbone's Sherlock Holmes. I'd also watch the old King Kong. I'd watch all the Bing Crosby and Bob Hope road movies. I'd also see things like the old musicals, Doris Day films, Dean Martin, and even Jerry Lewis's films. The old Ealing comedies that were made in the UK that starred Norman Wisdom, and right through to Laurel and Hardy.
In the sky, I ain't had no loving since January, April, June or July.
These all entertained me as I was a childhood, and they give me a real deep understanding of films and a real love of films, and this is why I believe today that I feel as if I'm in a position to give you my opinion on old classics and even new releases. Although I do believe that I grew up in a period of what I call golden cinema, the time between the end of the 70s and the 80s, where there was a great influx of sci-fi movies and fantasy movies, mainly based on the success of Star Wars, but this led me to a real passion and a real love for sci-fi. Doesn't mean that I just love sci-fi movies, far from it. I love films of all genres, but I was particularly drawn to this because these were the films that were available to me as a kid. and it was a real golden time of cinema. I do believe that this is why we are experiencing such a great influx of superhero and sci-fi films now. In fact, probably a little bit too many to be truthful. But I do believe that my childhood gave me the real insight into films of a particular generation. Because I was able to watch old stuff on the TV, I learnt an appreciation of the classic Hollywood. Also then became the influx of the video library, where video libraries was being set up in local laundrettes, or down the shops you could go and pick a film up, and that gave me a great love again of films I didn't discover in the cinema, that I didn't see on TV, films that were hidden gems, like Space Hunter in 3D. I didn't see it when it came out in the cinema. It's something I discovered, and this led to a different area of my life where I started watching films on video and going down there and trying to discover old favourites and these low budget classics, etc. So again, because of the era that I grew up in the late 70s, in the 80s, this information was coming to me via these sources, which was a really interesting time. So my question to you guys out there is, what are the films that influenced you for your passion of film? Is there a particular film that really defines you as a moviegoer? Give us your views, give us your comments, let me know what you think and the films that define you as a moviegoer. Be really interested to hear from you. Once again, thanks for listening to me and watching Matt's Movie Reviews. Give us a little subscribe, guys. Give me some comments. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for your time, and thanks for watching. Bye now.